Today I'm going to talk about recovering my lost inner children. I should start by saying this is a multidimensional experience, so I'm going to be talking multidimensionally, and if that's not something you're into, I would suggest just turn away now, because that's where we're going. I came out for a walk to try and prepare myself to do this video, and then it said, you know what, just go for it, just try and film it out here. And I need the support of nature. This is not an easy thing to talk about and to share, so I actually need the support of the elements and nature to make this happen, as well as the technical intelligence of my phone. So yes, this is the sort of next installment or continuation of my SSP Diaries that we're doing at the moment. Secret Space Program Diaries. It's a process that we're documenting, that we're going through as we awaken more to our involvement in these programs, both benevolent and malevolent. And my being is ready for me to extract myself from my involvement in the malevolent side, and to recover my energies, recover my fragmented aspects, recover even my energetic signatures from that involvement and from those environments. So the diaries are sort of logging the process, and for myself as well as hopefully being of some benefit to anybody who listens, who's interested. And we're still in Scotland. We're going abroad in 2 days. We've got everything arranged at last. It's taken it's been a bit of a roller coaster to bring it all together. A few unexpected surprises there. But we are now 2 days away from takeoff, which is really exciting. And as much as I have a really long list of things I need to be doing for that, this is a priority of mine. My being was like, you need to get this out while I'm still here, because it's a really large part of what I have been experiencing here, and it's also a large part of what I'm leaving behind as we move on into a next stage of our life and next stage of our evolution, and experiencing life in other countries and cultures free from so many of these invisible bonds and invisible binds that my being has been in, both with my family members, contractually, and then with this interdimensional kind of warfare experience that I've been having in the SSP. It's coming to an end. It can't continue. I've suffered long enough, and it has negatively affected me for long enough, and it's time for me now to recover my health, my sanity, my sanctity as a sovereign being. And I didn't realize how much my involvement, because I have not been conscious of it, my unconscious involvement in secret space programs, I didn't realize how much that has been impinging on my ability to become sovereign, limiting, hindering, and preventing my ability to be healthy, to have all my faculties working together, for me not to be fragmented and splintered and programmed. There's so much to it, and if this is the first one of these diaries you're listening to, I've done, I think, three so far. This is maybe number 4. There's also one on Patreon only, which is my very first one, opening up about this sort of stuff. So it's progressive. It's been a progressive, like, peeling back of layers and integrating. Oh, here's some people. I'm in a public place, so I might just pause if it gets busy. I'll try and continue. Peeling back layers, recovering memories, extracting myself, like I've said, from certain environments, certain roles that I've been playing, certain jobs I've been doing. And I've been working with, I've been working with a woman called Erica Amoreena. She's recently come forward with her personal testimony of her life experiences in these covert programs in the exopolitical space, and I've been working with her to help my process, essentially. Hi. And I've had 2 sessions with her now. The second one I had about 3 weeks ago. There's been so much going on in my internal alchemy, so much deep change and transformation. It's taken this long for me to get round to recording something about this. I've taken lots of notes. She recommended that I take notes every day, and I have done, and it's going to be fascinating to read them over in time. But so the main kind of topic we went into in the second session was, well, I asked if we could specifically focus on my health, current health status, and I got quite specific readings from her. There's a lot of work for me to do. A lot of it, I won't go into the details of that because it's not actually what I want to talk about here, but suffice to say, I've since then completely changed my diet. I'm now on a kind of process of daily supplements, and I'm just actively engaging in deeper layers of healing because it's really important. I've got a lot going on in me that I wasn't fully aware of, so it was helpful to get a light shone on there, even though it's a little bit unnerving what I need to work on and deal with, but I'm up for it. The whole point of me engaging with her and doing these videos and choosing in my life to just face this stuff is so I can change it, so I can change myself, so I can change my experience, so I can live a better life and not have all these invisible, like I say, bonds and binds and subjugations and limitations. So I'm very, very deep in that process on a few different levels. So as well as talking about health, she talked about, well, she encouraged me, she could read me, and she could read that I needed to work on recovering my inner children that have been involved in these programs. And I'm starting to go funny already just saying that. I have to say this. I've never spoken about this before. I have to. I have to. So, yes, she basically helped to instigate that process in me, and I realized after the session that was the next thing I really needed to prioritize in my process of recovering myself from my involvement. So once I'd got my health bit, sorted out my supplements, changed my diet, I then focused my intention specifically on engaging in, setting my intention to call out to my inner children, my how can I describe it? The thing is, I didn't realize they're still alive. They're still alive, and they're still running on a loop of their own experience. It's like they're stuck in a trauma loop somewhere in time and space, and they're being out there lost and stuck in their negative traumatic experiences. So when I started to contact them, and I actually had a lot of resistance around this, because part of me just finds it too upsetting and too difficult to face and feel. Yeah. So I had to ask myself some questions, like, what am I not wanting to feel? What am I not wanting to face? What am I not wanting to remember? Parts of me have been resisting this bit of my process. They've been trying to block it from me, partly for self-protection and just general everyday functioning, but deeper than that, just parts of me have just been so scared and have not felt able to bring these aspects home. But it's obviously time for me, and I don't know if you've seen them, but it also makes sense to me. I've created 3 videos earlier this year, a little mini series called about self-reconciliation and self-love. And I think in every single one of those videos there's an element of an inner child aspect returning to my heart, and my heart being this sort of unconditional mother to these inner children aspects of me, of different ages. One was a baby. This is a multidimensional experiences I had. I can put the links in the description maybe if you're interested. So one was a reunion with a spontaneous reunion I had with a baby experience of myself, and another one was a slightly older, maybe 3 or 4 year old. I had a spontaneous reintegration with her, which I documented as well. And I didn't know at the time, but it feels like that was a precursor or the beginnings of this even deeper process that I've been going through now with the space program element, this extraterrestrial, interdimensional contact element. I didn't have that in my awareness when I was going through those processes, so it's really interesting. It's been happening organically in me for a good while, a good few months. But as with everything in my process, going into the dimensions of the secret space program with all this healing and integration, it just opens up the weirdest, darkest, most disturbing stuff, and that's what happened. That's what I've been going into. That's what I've been shining my light on, regards my children being involved in these programs. So yeah, I had, just take a moment. I basically deep dived into this very intensive, immersive process that lasted about a week of like I didn't do anything else for that week. I couldn't. I was in bed for most of the week. It was morning, noon and night. It was so intensive, pardon me, and I had to surrender everything else I had planned. You know, we were planning to go away. We didn't have anything booked, but we were about to, and then I had my session with Erica and it blew it out the water, so things have been delayed for that, but it's okay. It's working out, and it's been so essential for me to do this alchemy while I'm here, like I say, and do the alchemy while I'm here so that I'm more integrated and more at peace with everything before I go away. And also, I need to close things more that while I'm here as well, because this is where it's all been based. This has all happened in Scotland. I'm from Scotland, grew up here. I've gone away travelling in my life, but I've spent the majority of my time here. This is where it's all happened, so this is where it needs to conclude. This is where it needs to resolve and conclude in the most part and end, and that's what's happening here. So I'm going to describe a little bit about my process with this. So after the session, I knew I had to work on this inner child thing, and I didn't fully know how to access it. So I got the instinct, I got the feeling to look up an SRA survivor testimony, a Satanic Ritual Abuse survivor's testimony or life experience, which I did, and it was what I needed. It helped catalyze my process for sure, because just the energy and some of the intensely abusive situations and dynamics that the person was able to describe, having gone through a lot of their own healing process, to be in a place to talk about it, it triggered memories in me. It triggered memories and like energy packets or energy pockets. It's just certain things. I didn't have an upbringing the way they had, but I had a religious upbringing, and behind the veil of the religious facade is a lot of this satanic energy and a lot of this ritualistic process of harvesting and traumatizing and abusing people at a young age in particular. It's all the same, it's just played out in different ways. So even though he was describing kind of specific rituals, details I haven't experienced, it triggered memories of comparative rituals I have experienced in the religious environment, which were designed to have a similar effect and a similar result. And so it took me there. It took me there. Which, wow, I can feel it again now. There's a few people coming. I'll just wait a little minute. Hi. Okay. I can always cut this out. It's not the kind of thing you expect to hear someone talking about when you go out walking your dog. Satanic ritual abuse and white light religious ritual abuse covered up by virtue in a church environment. It's not the kind of stuff you casually expect to hear on your evening walk. Hello, woof woof. Hiya. How are you? Nice to see you. Okay, so I'll keep going with it. So yeah, I'll just wait. Lovely, eh? Nice and warm. It is nice and warm. For mid-October, it's blimmin' lovely. Anywho, back to the inner process. Aye, so some of the dark satanic rituals that got described by this SRA survivor triggered memories in me of similar experiences, and a few different ones. I don't know how many I'll be able to describe in this video, but one, I guess that the primary kind of earliest one that I can recall that it triggered me to recall was the ritual of my baptism in the church. And the only other person I've heard talk about this experience is George Gavassalis. And when he described it, I kind of mentally understood what he meant. I was like, yeah, of course, that's what's going on there. But with this, I experienced the energy of it happening to me. I actually re-experienced what happened there, and that made it so effing real and direct to me. It was no longer what someone else was saying. I was like, I lived it. I relived it. So I relived the ritual of my baptism, where my parents sacrificed me with a priest to an interdimensional demon. I relived the energy of that experience. I was back in the church. I could see it all happening. I could see also the naivety, the innocence of my parents. They didn't know that's what they were doing consciously. I think if they knew that, they'd be horrified. But regardless, in an interdimensional, multidimensional way, that's what happened. They brought me forward to the altar. The priest did the ritual, summoned the appropriate beings, and a portal opened, and the demonic entity, it was a terrifying demonic entity, arrived and entered me as a baby. And the shock, the horrific shock of that experience is what I just relived a couple of weeks ago. Wow, that was intense. That was intense. And it's this foundational disturbance that I've had in my being. It's like, okay, that was a big moment of setting that up. That was one of those foundational experiences to like recruit me and to give me the mark of the beast. That was the other phrase I got. It's like in that baptismal moment, I was given the mark of the beast, which means that I'm like tagged interdimensionally. I'm tagged, which means I'm owned, which means I'm available for all sorts of shit to happen, because I'm owned, and I'm therefore emitting a frequency, like a radio transmission, giving off that that's what's happened to me, and that my being is now participating and willing to participate more in all sorts of things. Oh my goodness me, I can't. That was a biggie. It was a biggie to actually relive that moment. So I'm like rewinding my life story when I'm doing this SSP stuff. But at least, as horrifying as it is, at least it helps make sense. I feel like I'm getting to the truth of what's happened to me and why I've been such a fucking mess of a person. It's like, whoa, it hasn't made sense. It hasn't made sense fully. So that's that's why I'm engaging in these processes the way I am, to get to some of the core contracts and the core relationships and the core experiences I've had to with my involvement and with my family's involvement and with religion, with Catholicism. It's the Catholic Church, and you know, the greatest genius of the dark evil in this world, in this reality, is to dress itself up as light and virtue, and for people to believe that. It's the genius stroke of that force. It's in complete disguise, and people fall for those lies. They believe they're doing something good, and they're doing the complete and utter opposite. They're sacrificing their children to evil entities, and that might be challenging to hear, but if you've got this far already, I think you'll be okay with that, hearing that. And that's the size of it. That's what's becoming blatantly obvious to me with my religious upbringing and the kind of false light religion, the false light side of the God matrix. It's friggin' genius, because it poses, like I say, as virtue, as benevolence, and it's as evil as it gets in reality. So that was an interesting experience to relive and come to terms with, for sure. What else did I process? There was many different aspects that came. Interestingly, well, there's a few. Which way shall I go now? I'll go with the diet that seems to be there. So when I changed my diet, that also exposed an inner child, a lost inner child element, which was fascinating, because one of my lost inner children in that environment, just so severely neglected, just completely removed from its parents, from its home, from its any sense of safety or human closeness, right? So in its little world, it's always looking for that. It's always questioning, why am I alone? Where's my mum and dad? Where's home? It's like on repeat. Like, why am I alone? Where's my mum and dad? How do I get home? And that has been running in my being ever since that part of me had those experiences. And I didn't realize it was connected to how I was eating as well. Fascinating. So I've been eating as this fragmented inner child in my life. I've been desiring certain foods related to my family and upbringing, because that inner part of me has believed that if I eat those foods, I will become closer to my family and I'll be closer to my mum and dad. It will somehow be at home. If I eat those foods that are familial, the things I grew up eating, even though they're not very healthy things, they're not very nourishing or what have you. So it's amazing. That was an amazing link to make, and it's only when I kind of starved that aspect to me from its usual foods that I was able to identify what was motivating me to eat certain ways throughout my life, and why. It was subconscious, it was unconscious, and even though I have, as an adult, I've improved my diet a lot. I've still had this bit of me that's gone, oh, I'll just eat that. And it's driven by a desire to be close to my family. It's so fascinating. So that piece of me has been returning, and I've had to feel her sadness and feel her confusion. She's so confused and so lost, and sorry, I've got a fly here. So confused and so lost, and I've had to reassure her that it's okay, and she can let go. She can let go. The thing I've noticed about my inner children aspects, someone I know calls these aspects orphans, because they're going around on their own without a family, without parents, and they're just so lost and lonely. The thing I've noticed about them, because they're small, they're children, they grasp on so tightly to the very little that they have in their experience. It's like they're holding on for dear life. It's like, yeah, it's just so tight. It's like they've got little fists that are just clenching all the time, holding on to the tiny bit of life and the tiny bit of light and hope that they have, that they will find their family or find their mum and dad or find whatever home is. It's all they think about. It's all they're motivated by to stay alive, because they've been stripped of everything and tortured and abused to such heinous degrees. That's what's kept them alive. That's what's kept them alive, kept them going. And I've experienced a number of my inner children who are just, they need a lot of coaxing and a lot of reassurance to let their little clenched fists release, because they have serious issues with feeling safe and serious issues with trusting, especially trusting like adults, which I obviously now am. So for them to really let go enough to return to me, it's taken a lot of work. It's actually been the hardest returnings in some ways that I've processed so far, because some of them are just so far gone, and because I'm in my 40s now, they've been doing that for decades. They've been holding on for dear life to all sorts of weird things for decades. And so I didn't even know that was possible, but it is. It's real, and that's what I've been engaging with. This is my first-hand experience I'm sharing with you here. And it also, for me personally, I had to surrender to the process even more than I have with other aspects that I've had returning. The children in me have needed to know they have my undivided attention. They've really, really needed to know that from me, that I'm totally with them, that there's nothing else on my mind. I'm not worrying about what I'm doing tomorrow or next week. I'm not even thinking about the cooking. I'm not doing anything else. They just needed my undivided attention, my continual loving reassurance that it's safe to let go and that I'm there for them to come back home to me, and also to let them know that I am home, because they're still looking for my mum and dad. But it's me now that they need to come home to. So I've actually had to talk to them quite a lot for them to get used to my communication, my voice, my presence, because I have not been communicating with them again for decades. So as much as we've always been connected, I haven't been engaging with them. In some sense, I've unwittingly been abandoning them. So they're not just gonna suddenly jump off and go, yay, it's time to come home. It's like, no, there's a lot of time's gone by in our relationship together that we've been estranged. We've been estranged from each other, and that takes a bit of deep connection, and it takes a bit of time. It takes a bit of time, and persistence, loving persistence, and a willingness to keep going. I encountered a few blocks where they just would not let go. Different aspects of me, they wouldn't let go. So I had to listen to them and figure out what they needed from me, because each of them actually needed something different from me. I didn't know there was so many of them. Erica helped me realize. She told me, you've got a lot of different children aspects out there that are running endlessly on loops, and they're exhausted. Of course they're exhausted, but I just needed to hear that reflection so that I could journey out to meet them wherever they were. And I didn't get a lot of details. I don't get very clear details with any of this memory recall or integrating my different aspects. I experience all of this energetically first and foremost, and the feelings, the emotions tell me everything I need to know. It's about listening to the energy and the emotion, and there's truth there. There's truth in it, and I need to follow and journey into the truth of it and see what's there, see where it leads me, see what it leads me, who it leads me to, and then I need to figure out a communication with what I find when I journey there. Just let this person go by. So I'll just give one more example, maybe, of an interesting, one of the experiences of this, where I'll let these guys go by as well. So one of the aspects of me that was out there on her own, she tested me. She created a test for me before she would trust me. She created a test for me. She wanted me to prove something to her on her terms before she would trust that I was trustable and that I was honoring her and I was responsible and I was responding to her needs, right? She needed that from me. So she asked me to to draw. She wanted to communicate to me through art. So art was like her language. It was like it meant the most to her. So she asked me to draw and be willing to allow her to show me what to draw. And so I had a sketchbook and I had pencils because I want to sketch again on this journey as well. So I had my sketchbook and pencils, and she tested me. She was like, you need to start you need to start with this art, you need to show me. So I did, and I listened to her while I was doing it. I completely listened to her. I was like, I needed to be a willing vessel, a willing vehicle for her to do art through me, if you like. Yeah, she wanted to do art through me. So I got everything ready, and the pencils were out on the table, paper, and I tuned into her. We did this together. I let her pick the colours. I was like, what next, you know? She picked the colours, she picked the forms that we did, and we did it together. It's a really different way of art making that I'm used to, actually taking leadership from my inner child. And interestingly enough, I said this in one of my previous videos a few months ago. I said in one of these self-reconciliation and self-love, the third one, reunion of the inner mother and inner child, I actually said this where I felt like we were going to do a creative project, an art project, and this whole thing was that she was going to lead it. And you know, it's taken a few months for this to manifest and actually happen, but in this process it was required. It was like, now's the time for this to happen. So that's been interesting to me, that began to filter through a few months ago, and now it's started to happen. So yeah, we managed to do some art together, and she was really pleased with that. She was glad, she was like relieved, because it was like I was trusting her, which meant that she could trust me. And I had to put aside my judgment, my ego. I had to let it all go to allow this process and to allow her to move and direct me. So I might put in a couple of stills of the kind of thing we sketched together. I might splice that in, I might not. But that was how she channeled to me, that's how she communicated to me, and that's how we built a bridge. There was a bridge built energetically between me and her through the act of me doing art with her. And so once I'd done 3 different drawings over a couple of days, she was satisfied enough that I was with her, and she returned to me. She energetically let go of what she was holding on to, and she returned to me. She came back to my heart, and that was just so lovely. I mean, these children aspects, they're so dear to me. They're so precious, and they've been through so much. They've been through such horrendous abuses and tortures. It truly is incredible the lengths that children get exploited and abused in these cults, if you like, in these secret programs and secret religious activities. It's just, and through extraterrestrials, it's extraordinary, and it's so painful. So bringing these aspects home with a loving heart, kind of feeling the sadness and feeling the energy of what they've been carrying, that's really hard. That's a really hard part of this. But I can help dissolve it. I dissolve those emotions in my heart. I take them in, I feel them, and I process them and neutralize them. And then the being can experience relief. She experienced so much relief and release, and so did I, because I wasn't carrying a really estranged relationship with an aspect of myself anymore. So it restores this sort of contentment there's a contentment that can arrive which I haven't been able to experience without reintegrating some of these inner children aspects. Yeah, it's quite a long video this. I think I have other experiences as well, but I think I'll save that for another time. And I think I've gone there sufficiently for today. It's wow. it's really quite an incredible spiritual experience, tapping into my multidimensional nature, and drawing back to me my fragmented aspects. It's not all about, like, reintegrating my being. It's not all about bringing home fragmented aspects. I'm also able to integrate with larger parts of my being, which I haven't had access to either. These two processes go hand in hand. The more I integrate my fragmented aspects and the pain that they carry, the more whole I am. It's like I'm a more integrated vessel to therefore contain different, larger energies of my being, my multidimensional nature, natural multidimensional nature. So it's like I haven't been able to access the larger spiritual aspects of myself because I've been like a leaky vessel, because I've been traumatized and fractured and fragmented. I've been a leaky vessel for energy, for my own energies. So I've not been able to contain and embody and live my own natural energies, my own spiritual authorities, you know. So that's the other side of being able to integrate so many of mine and our fragmented aspects. Mean we're more of a whole and sanctified vessel for many of our other natural, larger spiritual expressions. That's also what's happening with me. I will just let this video conclude here, and I'm so glad I was able to get this one out. That was a bit of a struggle for me, so I'm really pleased being able to do that, and I can take a deep breath out now. Hiya. Thanks everyone. I'll see you in a different country next time. Oh, what an amazing journey this is. Epic. Much love to you all. Much love to you all out there. And bye for now.